We welcome you back. This is the council time for Wednesday, August 31. It is 10:35 a.m. This is following a work session that was on the subject of ARPA, the American Relief Program for funding and much funding available in Clark County. So this council time agenda will be followed by one executive session that is on pending litigation. So we will have both of those at this time. We begin with public comment that is on the council time agenda only. If there's anyone in the hearing room who wishes to comment on that, or if you would like to call in on your phone or make your presence on the laptop, you may use the *3 or the raised hand icon. Is there anyone who wishes to speak, staff?
Chair, yes, I do have a couple of individuals in the hearing room here.
Okay, and before we begin, I just want to remind everybody that this is public comment on agenda items for council time only. So they may go ahead and begin.
Up there. Maybe
No,
I
I'm
should
here,
go.
ma'am.
Hello. My name is Wing Gersich, and according to your agenda, you're talking about things, you have old business and new business, and I want to talk about both of those, which is on your agenda.
Last week when I came on old business, by the way, are just the minutes, just the items shown.
Well, the fact is, the old business of August 24th, I told you about Paul Harris putting the fluoridation in the drinking water, and I asked you to put water filters on all the schools, which you could do because you got millions of dollars, which we've just seen. And secondly is the fact that it should be stopped, and you should actually have a hearing and bring him here and have him prove that drinking poison is safe. Here's a picture of the sodium fluoride he put in our water. It's got a skull and crossbone on it. This is from the Epic Times. And there was all kinds of things. The November 2006, the American Dental Association advised that parents should avoid giving babies fluoridated water. How come he did no research on this? I want to know, we're under medical tyranny. How many people lobbied him to put this poison in the drinking water to increase cancer death rates? And it says right here, I'm going to give you all kinds of more information on fluoride, which you can share with him, because obviously he didn't study anything, did he? But I honestly think you should bring him here, and he and his 8 cronies should prove to you that drinking poison is safe. I do have cancer, and I know it's going to exacerbate it further. I've got bone spurs, which is caused from fluoridation, and I'm crippled because of it. And this is what's going to happen to a lot of people, but it lowers children's IQs, and I would think that Dr. Melnick, which really shocked me, at the last meeting when they asked after we presented all of this, he had no comment. How could he have no comment that somebody put poison in your water and to lower children's IQs? I put 76 brain damage studies on your public records. Didn't he look at it? Why isn't he here? Why isn't he trying to stop this until Paul Harris can prove that it's safe? And right now, here's another one I'm putting it on, why U.S. Environmental Protection Agency scientists opposed water fluoridation. The EPA union explains their opposition to fluoridation. There's every kind of document that this stuff is poison and increases cancer death rates. Right here, fluoride has been shown to increase the growth of bone cancer in risk 600 times more in young men. It says several more studies found that cancer death rates in cities with fluoridated water were 10% higher than those that did not have it. And one thing too, if you all like wine and you buy it from California, in California, it says that they have high fluoride on their grapes and stuff because they use creolite, which is a fluoridated spray on the crops. And like I told you, I went to Sonoma and I talked about it. They didn't need to add fluoride because when they spray the grape crops, they put fluoride on it and it seeps into the groundwater, into the well water. And what did they use up here? What kind of pesticide do you use on the grapes up here? But also, too, they are now paying COVID patients in Britain
And that is the 3-minute
for
timer.
disabilities due to the shot, which all of this is going on public record. I hope the public checks it out. And you need to do something, but get Paul Harris down here and have him prove that this stuff is safe, or stop it, because you've got the liability that you know it's poison.
Others who wish to testify, staff?
Yes, Chair, I do have one more person here in the hearing room.
I'll be reading from my notes, and Karen, you looked absolutely disgusted with when speaking. You're doing this and that and fidgeting. But then you're pretty well rehearsed being a dictator when a motion should be made. And oh, you also said that you're very good at coaching, as you proclaimed. You guys have a lot of tax dollars that are urgently trying to be spent, and I'm trying to wake up Clark County. It's good to see a council member here in person and representing his district. And I will ask Mr. Rylander to read all the materials that was put on public record last August 24th. There's a lot of them, and I hope you read every one of them. As my representative, I'm going to ask you to apply, to apply to this tyrannical council exactly what you've learned and actually what you already know. Fear not and serve the people. This is, and I want you to serve in a righteous, godly, discerning, effective manner today. So please read all the documents that we put in there last week. This council is overreaching and at the expense of its citizens, and we will assemble. Proverbs 16:18, pride goes before destruction and the haughty spirit before the fall. A whistleblower told me that one of the city council members, and I want to know who it is, had to have a $50,000 room overlooking the Columbia River. I want to know who that council member is, why we had to spend $50,000 to do that, let alone, I do not want the library, the law library, being taken out. We need actually more room for the law library. And so I want answers to the questions that I asked last week. How many of you did take the COVID jab, and how many are exempt? The people must know how many of you are exempt while you're pushing a death jab bioweapon. And I put that on public record also, that you still have today falsehood of the public is not welcome here. And Mr. Rylander, last week, the public wasn't welcome here according to their site. But of course, we came in anyway, and lo and behold, the public is welcome here. You guys are hiding from the public. We have to wake them up to what's going on here. And you might only live in Clark County, but believe me, Vancouver, where I was born, they are a tyrannical United Nations following government, following the one world order takeover. Look at Biden, everything. And then to depopulate. And I want the people to wake up, that they found out that they took a jab that this man over here in one of the Board of Health dictates to people to take. So be transparent and tell us if you guys got exempt or not.
And your time is up. Is there anyone else wishing to testify, staff?
There is not. Let me check online really fast. I do not see any hands raised either.
Thank you. Let's go to old business. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of August 24?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Changes? Questions? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as drafted. There was a change or two made. Is that not correct, staff, from what was the first posting?
There was, yes. I believe it was under new business, the site-specific plan amendments that was added, and then also we double-checked that the present and absent list was correct.
It is correct, but I request that you make note that Counselor Rylander was elected to serve on the toll board, and he was serving in that capacity for council at that time. So he was doing what we had requested of him.
So Chair Bowerman, so historically when counselors miss due to other commitments due to work, we haven't put the specifics on the minutes. It's just been absence. Is this something that you're wanting to change and the council wanting to change moving forward?
When the council member is simply shown as absent, yes, it sounds like they're absent of their own volition, and this was something at the request of council. So in this case, yes. Is there any other change? Okay. Minutes are, let's take a vote. Is there a motion for approval? Did we already do that? Is there a motion for approval? And a second? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, thank you. They pass. And under new business, proclamation requests. Kathleen?
I believe Lindsay had put these forward, but there is 2 proclamation requests before you today to be put on a future Tuesday council meeting. The first one is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and the second is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's my understanding that these have historically been presented in front of the council. And Lindsay, I don't know if there's any other specific changes that you would like to call out for the council this morning.
No, these are, as Kathleen mentioned, these are ones that we historically have done. There was a mention in the prior proclamation regarding breast cancer last year, particularly as it pertained to the pandemic and encouraging women to continue to get screenings during the pandemic. That language has been updated. This reflects more what the council has historically done, but the spirit certainly of the proclamations is the same. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but these are ones we've typically done.
Comments? Yep. You got your 3 thumbs at least up for this to come up soon. Is it next meeting?
This would be the first meeting in September, yes, the next meeting.
Okay, very good. And this is the last day of August. I keep having to remind myself of this. Tomorrow is September. Any counselor reports?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Counselor Rylander.
Because I was absent last week, was at the kickoff meeting for the tolling commission at the Hyatt in Portland. Getting down there was an interesting twist and set of turns before I finally found a parking structure. In any case, good turnout. I will be assembling some materials so that those are available to other camper counselors to use or review. They do have a proposed charter, which is about 3-4 pages long. I have just yesterday finished going through it and making some comments and annotations and questions and so forth, and I will be making arrangements in some fashion to make that available to other council members so that you can add your own comments and thoughts. The charter comments do need to be in prior to the next meeting, which will be in approximately 4 weeks. So they will be holding meetings monthly, basically through the latter part of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Other counselor reports? I'd just like to mention that yesterday, the Mental Health Sales Tax Funding Advisory Board met and considered further detail on some of the internal applications. They were funded. There is 1.74 million available for those funds. And then on the external side, which we will be considering in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or so, there is $11 to $12 million available, but there are more requests than there is funding available. So there will be a big job that lies ahead in those considerations. There is a lot that goes into this. I would be happy to give any kind of more detailed report, or Lindsay, perhaps we could simply share some of the minutes that come out of the meeting that you prepare. Would that be a good way to go at this, to share more with council?
Sure, we certainly can. Typically, as the budget process goes along, we update the council as to all of the recommended items, so that they're aware of the proposed items before the council certainly takes the budget vote.
Well, you know, as soon as your spreadsheet is ready that lists what those requests are, perhaps we could share that then with council and have it be also for input, of course.
Sure. And if the rest of the council wants to review any of the, RFP materials, I'm happy to get that out to everybody. So Kristen also has a copy as well.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on that? Because that is such an important component of our sales tax picture.
Well, Madam Chair, I just highlight what you just said. I mean, obviously, this had been paused for a while, so there's a good, healthy fund balance and a lot of really good requests. The floor I'm sitting on right now is stacked with printed applications, and yes, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And we're deep into it right now.
Other councilor reports?
I have one brief one, and Lindsay could comment on this as well, but the that first open house, if you will, it was by Zoom on the Lake Vancouver consultant work that resulted from the earmark, basically entering the next phase, a larger amount of their work, but they did a Zoom meeting last night. I don't have the details of everything that will come out of it. I did sit and watch it. But ultimately, I think all are in agreement. We're heading in the right direction to a lake management plan. I think in sub and substance, whatever the detail is of what needs to be improved, changed throughout the watershed and at the lake itself, is still to be determined. There's a lot of research yet to do. There are there's no controversy in it as far as I know, but there are some disagreements. There wasn't any specific work done on the flushing channel, yet they did come up with the opinion that the flushing channel wasn't a main source of concern. And that's somewhat contrary to every other opinion that's come out in the last 20 years. So anyway, they did have their first open house last night, and I was a little disappointed in the numbers. I think we only had a few dozen people log in, but Lindsay, you could correct me if I'm wrong on that. Hopefully there will be a little bit more public participation in the future.
Yeah, there were about 35 people that logged in. It was kind of an initial learn and prepare information, an opportunity for folks to ask some initial questions. They did, of note, kind of a poll of the participants, both who had completed the survey that they had done, and then also the participants in the open house last night. Most people either classified themselves as somebody who enjoys viewing the lake, or somebody who enjoys boating on the lake. I think that hiking and other recreational opportunities were kind of third in line. So it gives you a sense of the types of constituents that were there. And when they were asked to come up with words for what they were hoping to see, the words clean, healthy, and safe were the primary words that came about. So, but certainly a lot of folks interested in recreational opportunities, in environmental concerns. But I think, the clean and healthy part is both for the environment and then, of course, for the recreational users as well. So, yeah, I think that we're on the right path, and there's a lot of work yet to be done.
Thank you. Other councilor reports? Okay, no work session requests, as I understand. Is that still correct, Kathleen?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
And Lindsay, anything on policy issues?
No, I was going to update on Vancouver Lake, but Councillor Medved beat me to it.
There you go. Okay, we will go into executive session. This is on pending litigation with RCW 42.3.110, Section 1I. It is estimated to take 20 minutes. So we would be back out of that executive session and back into council time for adjournment by 11:20 to give us time to go in and out of the two sessions. And council, by the way, will be present. Thank you, and I'll see you in the executive session, council.
Hello, council is extending executive session for 5 more minutes and will be returning at 11:25. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been time out from council time on the 31st of August. It is now 10:27. We are out of executive session, having been involved with discussion on pending litigation for 20 minutes, and there was council present. There is no following action at this time. So back in council time, we're here simply for the purpose of adjourning. So I shall say this meeting is now adjourned.